Hello and welcome to our Advanced Screenwriting for Media Projects course designed for master students of School of Creative Industry. Today we discussing lecture number 13 and 14 from the week number 7. And today our topic is writing for interactive and emerging media. So it's kind of exciting world of interactive and emerging media, VR, AR, and in this presentation, in this lecture, we'll delve into the unique aspects of writing for this evolving field. We will explore the definition, characteristics of interactive media, and how to craft compelling narratives for these platforms. Also, we will cover importance of user interactivity, ethical consideration, and designing for different platforms. So let's start. Firstly, let's discuss about characteristics of interactive and emerging media. So, of course, one of the important things is user agency. So, interactive media empowers users to make choices and influence the narrative, creating a personalized experience. So, basically, when we talk about interactive media, mostly user needs to be main character and depends on his choices, on his actions. We need to format and change our scripts, our story. So we need to give our user choice and feeling that he is a creator, he is a main character. Secondly is immersive environments. So emerging media like VR and AR create realistic immersive experiences that blur the lines between reality and fiction. So second part, what we need to think about is engaging. So you need to be in this world, in this experience. Thirdly is dynamic storytelling. So the narrative unfolds based on user decisions, making the story fluid and unpredictable, responding to each choice. So yes, for sure, everything that we will create, we need to think before, like all of the options, all of the choices, like branch trees, what will happen. But for our user, uh, he needs to be surprised by this storytelling, by this plot, and blurred boundaries. So interactive media blurs the boundaries between traditional storytelling and gameplay, offering a unique form of engagement. So here again, engagement is very important thing and word that we will discuss mostly on our practice and also in this lecture. So let's see. Uh, Storytelling for interactive experiences. So engagement, again, yes, the focus shifts from passive consumption to active participation, making users an integral part of the narrative. So basically, uh, our first goal is to create this kind of environment and storyline where our user will completely dissolve into it, all of his attention, and he will not feel the difference between real life and this media that we will create for him. How we can do it? So it's based on choices and consequences. So every decision has a tangible impact on the story, shaping the narrative path and leading to diverse outcomes. So he need to make choices, he need to make action to play, to feel, to see, but also we need to create for him illusion of very deep and groundbreaking story where he will not expect what will come next. Even like one decision that he will make at the beginning of story, it can completely change storyline of our medium. So here again, we need to work as storytellers and world creators. And player agency. So the script should be written to accommodate a variety of player choices, allowing for flexibility and exploration. So here, different prototypes, different archetypes. We will discuss it on our practice, like hero's journey, Hartman's view of story, like how we can manage it. But mostly, here is our choice to, we kind of don't have any target audience. All of the audience, they are our target. Doesn't matter about his ethnicity, his age, place where he lives. We need to build this kind of stories that interesting for all of them. Okay, let's talk about adapting traditional screenwriting techniques for emerging media. So character development, characters' arcs are still crucial, but we need to adapt them to the interactive nature of the medium, allowing for deeper exploration. So here, what we can do to give more character development and character backstory to create our user this backstory. So they need to make this kind of choices and actions that will lead to our character development. Next one is dialogue. So dialogue for sure should be dynamic and responsive to user choices, offering different options based on the context and character relationships. So if we have different storylines in terms of dialogue, we need to work like 3-4 times more rather than as it's in traditional screenwriting. So here we need to give some decision making to our user, what kind of choice he will make, what kind of answer or question he will ask. And through this, also, again, we can create this character development for him. And plot structure. So traditional plot structures can be adapted to accommodate branching narratives and multiple endings, providing a range of experiences. So yes, still, even like all of the games you played, all of the media, TV series you watched, all of the different endings for created movies or TV shows, with alternative ending, still they works as like, for example, 3-act structure or 4-act structure. But we giving choice to what kind of ending will happen to our user. Okay, let's move on. So when we talk about emerging and interactive media, firstly, of course, we need to think about non-linear narrative structures. So what it means? Firstly, it's multiple paths. So the story can take multiple directions, allowing user to explore different storylines and create unique experiences. So here, again, variety of different actions can lead to different consequences. And we, as a creators, we need to think about all of them, create all of them. So how we can do it? Secondly, it's branching narratives. So the narrative branches at key decision points, offering diverse paths and influencing the overall trajectory of the story. So depend on what kind of choices he will make, it will create different branches of the story. And they can for sure cross each other, but depends on decisions of our users, outcome, consequences can be different. Dynamic world building. So interactive environments evolve based on player choices, creating a dynamic and engaging world that responds to user actions. For sure, at the beginning, we need to think, we need to write, we need to create this world and different alternatives of the world based on the character decisions and choices. But for our user, for our main character, they need to be new and interesting. And he needs to understand that it's because of his decision previously, it happened these kind of actions. And because of not only also character development, but also based on character user choices, we can make different world building outcomes. Okay, let's move on. So yes, user interactivity, how we can incorporate to our media projects user interactivity. What's about it? Let's discuss. So controls and input. So we need to design intuitive controls that enable users to interact with the environment and characters seamlessly. So all of the props and design elements that our user will see on the screen or in his VR helm, for sure it will be good if he will be able to interact with all of them, because it will be interesting for him. And also we can make some script activators that will something happen because of it. So for us, it's also kind of like cheating and life hack, how to make more different branches for story and different elements of storytelling, different narrative structures. Dialogue choices. Dialogue choices, I think, one of the most important and again, one of the easiest way to create different branches of reality. So we can offer meaningful dialogue options that impact the narrative, allowing players to shape their characters' actions and relationships. So we need to give to our user feeling that he controls the world, he controls the character, and we need to give him different options, variety of options that will be good for different personalities. Again, different ethnicity, different age. So here, I think we can use this life hack, how we can make some dialogue choices based on our story. The next one is puzzles and challenges. So we can integrate puzzles and challenges that encourage critical thinking and provide opportunities for interaction and reward. So what's good here? I think still even doesn't matter what kind of genre we offering to our users. Still, we can input and incorporate different interesting game mechanics that can easily be attractive to our user. The next one is customization. So we can enable players to personalize their experience by choosing settings, character options, or narrative preferences. I think a lot of you played different RPG games, and there a lot of users, they mostly starts to play and like half an hour they can spend on just choosing characters appearance. But here I think one of the interesting part of customization, how we can make and apply it for our user, how we can give him some interactive choices, is customization. Here, I think, again, good experience is RPG games, where users spends a lot of time just making different hairstyle, different accessories, and so on and so on. Even not RPG style games, like, for example, GTA, still there you will see elements of customization, where you can change clothes, change cars, um, color of the car, and so on and so on. And user spends a lot of time just customizing his own character or things. Okay, let's move on. So developing branching storylines. I hope you watched Bandersnatch. It's a Black Mirror, one of the episodes of Black Mirror TV show, and there they created like interactive experience for their users. So it was still TV show, but with elements of choosing different experience, different elements how he can interact with world. So Firstly, we need to identify key decision points. We need to determine where user choices will significantly impact the narrative. We need to craft distinct storylines. Secondly, we need to develop multiple storylines for each decision point, ensuring each path leads to a unique outcome. And thirdly, we need to test and iterate. So regularly, we need to test and refine the branching patches, ensuring a seamless and engaging user experience. Here, like when we create these different storyline branches, we need to think about how they will interact with each other. So next one is designing for mobile and VR platforms. Mobile design, we need to consider touch controls, screen size, and battery life for optimal user experience on mobile platforms. So it can be a smartphone, can be tablet, planchette. It can be like playable game decks, and we need to think about how we can engage with what kind of controls to our audience for their interaction. Next one is VR design. So we need to focus on creating immersive environments, intuitive controls, and comfortable experiences for VR users. Here, VR, like for sure, it's one of the most emerging media outcomes right now. Virtual reality and the abilities of VR game sets, games, and stories that we can give to our audience. I think right now it's golden age for VR, and in our hands as creators and as writers, media specialists, is to provide our users with good and interesting interactive content, especially prepared for VR style. And accessibility. So we need to ensure and think about content. Is it accessible to all users, regardless of their platform or physical limitations? So still, we need to think and we need to make some scalable understanding. We have PC, we have games, game boxes, PlayStations, and so on and so on. And even like not only if we not only talk about games, for example, like elements of storytelling in previous example of Bandersnatch TV show, where we still can allow our user to make some choices. Here, like I think one of the important words is design. So we need to understand how these platforms works, what they can provide to our users, and use it maximally for full all of the abilities of this device, of this medium as information giver. And we need to think how we can implement our storylines, our writings for these users. Okay, let's move on. Another part is ethical considerations in interactive media. So ethical considerations still like important thing. About it, we need to talk. We will, I think, talk about more on our practice hours. But mostly, what we need to think and consider firstly, it's privacy. So we need to be mindful of user data collection, and we need to ensure transparency regarding privacy policies and data usage. Because if we talk, for example, VR or like other mediums, right now you know that they have multiplayer, where like a lot of different users can play, can interact, can see each other, can see environment of their homes if we have this function. And for sure, it's a big also danger for these users. It can be at some points, or if someone will bully them or stalker them and if depends on our private policies and our regulations, we can firstly think about it. Okay, and next one is representation. We need to strive for diverse and inclusive representations in our stories, ensuring all users feel seen and respected. So here, I think, again, important part of creating media, especially for interactive media and emerging media. Here, we can, and mostly it will help us to create different representation and different diversity of our characters, of our storylines. So it can be like, again, depends on medium. For example, let's talk about games. So based on the choices and dialogues that our user will choose by the period of this game. Here, he can create his character arc by himself, and he can change and shape world surrounding him by his decisions and by his options and actions. So here, I think we can include it at the first stage of writing. We can make different characters and storylines, diversity of different characters and outcomes, what kind of characters they will be, and make good, I think, a much good job for our users and viewers, or for our audience. It will help them to feel themselves represented and respected, but at some point for us, it kind of like hint how we can create just different, more and more bigger storylines and different branches of our story, dependent on character choices. Okay, next one is addiction and content. So we need to consider the potential for addiction and harmful content, implementing responsible design principles and content moderation. So here, yes, again, depends, as I stated before, different policies and regulations. We still need to think about them, to think how we can implement them, and how we can provide our users and our audience with correct data, correct content, and so on and so on. Here, again, good point, good choice to make is ours. So these three considerations based on interactive media ethical moments, we need to think about them firstly at the beginning stage of our kind of pre-production part, writing part, even like developing part. So it's important to think about them firstly rather than in the middle of the ongoing project. Okay, let's talk about some conclusions and key takeaways. So for sure, writing for interactive and emerging media requires a unique set of skills and considerations. By embracing the principles of user agency, immersive storytelling, and ethical design, we can create compelling and engaging experiences for audiences across various platforms. So right now, again, VR, AR, they are emerging. They on their not beginning stage, but rising, developing stage. And we, as a media specialists, as creators, as writers, we can help to create and build more interesting, different stories. But also, what we can do, we can add to them different layers of interactivity, of gameplay that we build, and storytelling, character building, world building, that at first our audience and viewers, they will think that they are creators of this story. by their choice, their options, their actions, this game, this media is changed, shaped, but don't forget that at the beginning, still you are creator, and you, as a creator and writer, you can give these different options to your audience and your viewers. So it's important to think what kind of story you will give to your audience and your viewers, and it's kind of I think more interesting for us as an creators, because a lot of like standard traditional media in the works, a lot of different creators worked on them. We have a lot of different good A-level projects, but when we talk about VR, AR, all of the different interactive media projects, there is still not so much to offer to audience, not so good and interesting projects yet. Why? Because this field is emerging right now, developing right now, and we, as in creators and writers, we can hop into that train and help different viewers and different audience to understand what's happening and to show our abilities and our voice can be user can hear our voice through these stories. So here I think is good and important part of our work where we can deliver this kind of information and different good interesting projects to our audience. Okay, I think that's it on our topic of writing for interactive and emerging media. Uh, Mostly, we will discuss also different options on our practice hours, and let's finish on it. Okay, see you on our practice hours. Goodbye.